Oh boy!
Am I gonna float?
We're
I'm gonna
all going to
float. We
float.
all float down here.
Oh,
Hello, everybody. It's time to talk about our favorite clown ever,
Mr. Penny.
Pennywise,
Oh, yes, yes.
the dancing clown,
The
or
dancing clown.
Bob Gray before he was Pennywise.
Mm.
Poor fella, poor Bob Gray. But yeah, so if you couldn't tell by now, we're talking about the newest series, the best series, Stranger Things. Get out of here! Welcome to Derry is here to stay. It's a better version, I think. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Welcome to Derry, everybody.
Hell yeah.
This is
It's time for
literally
some dairy.
the best show of the year for me.
Woo. 10 out of 10.
Between that and The Rehearsal, which is more of like a documentary, social experiment type show. So, but as far as a narrative series, Welcome to Derry takes the cake for me. It is what Stranger Things wish it could be. All shade to Stranger Things. Welcome to Derry is the king. We are going to break down the series, break down the season. Now that's over. Now that it's finalized. Sadly, it brought me a lot of joy to my Sunday to watch a clown eat little kids.
Oh yeah, so much joy.
And then he just disappeared, and he went to sleep for 27 years, and hopefully the new season will not be 27 years that would be kind of cool though if they did that, but at the same time that'd be torturous to wait that long. I might not even be alive in 27 years, so I mean, what would be the point? You know what I mean? But like, hopefully we get a new. I know we're getting two more seasons at least. I don't know when, but
yeah, because
it's gonna be.
Andy Muschietti has already got the concepts and stuff drafted up, so it's like 27 years prior to season 1 of this series, and then 27 years prior to that. So like two like huge events. Looks like the armed robbery or something like that.
Yeah, a gang that comes through, kind of like a John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde type gang comes through in the next season, which I'm going to be excited for because I love bank robbery movies. So Pennywise mixed with bank robberies sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And then the next thing will be like when he first arrived in Derry, I'm guessing with Bob Gray and all that, the circus. And then, or there's also that factory with all the kids that blew up or something.
Yeah, because that was like 1908 and then it's 1935. So he is jumping back in time.
I think it's called like the Ironworks incident or something. I think that's the 1908 one. But yeah, so we'll be getting that, which is awesome. And in a way, which we'll talk about it because this is actually a sequel, not a prequel to the movies. We find out in the last episode, but we'll get to that later. But I guess it started off because I've never got to talk about Pennywise on the show yet, ever. This is the first time I've ever got to talk about Pennywise.
He's my favorite monster.
I have been a Pennywise fan since I can remember. The 1990 miniseries is my jam. It's in my top 10 favorite horror films.
Period.
Tim Curry's Pennywise. I love Bill Skarsgård, and he might go toe to toe with if we get another season of him. But for right now, Tim Curry is still my Pennywise. Obviously, I'm wearing the shirt. Multiple shirts with him. I have multiple Funko Pops. I mean, I love Tim Curry's Pennywise. He's one of the true monsters that terrified me as a kid. This is gonna age me bad, but I'm gonna say this anyway. I remember going to video rental stores and going to get like the new VHS or DVD back in the day, and them having the It poster. There's a specific store, I forgot what it was called. It's called PJ's or something. And we would go there when we went to, there's a town about 40 minutes from me called Cape, where my movie theater is. And they used to have a rental store there. and they had a gigantic It poster on the wall.
Hey.
And their posters. And when I was a kid, I hadn't seen the movie yet, and I was absolutely terrified of that poster. Just seeing Tim Curry's face haunted my nightmares. And then I actually didn't watch the movie. It's the miniseries, but I call it a movie because it is basically a movie, even though they showed it 2 parts on TV. I watched it for the first time on Spike. If y'all remember, on Spike in like 7th grade, something like that, middle school era. They showed it during Halloween, and I've been in love ever since. Before I watched the movie, I had a friend tell me about it and Pennywise, and I watched the sewer scene on loop when I was in 7th grade. I had a weird obsession with that scene where I wanted to watch Georgie's arm actually get bit off, but it never did because it was low budget and it was on TV, so they couldn't do that then.
Yeah.
Because it was 1990, different times. But I watched that clip over and over, like the summer of between my 7th and 8th grade year for some reason. That and when he pops up on Eddie in the shower, when he spreads the floor in the shower room and all the showers go nuts. I was obsessed with it, and then like a year later, I ended up watching it on TV, and then ever since then, I've been a Tim Curry stan. Cut to 2017, I was there opening night when the remake remake came out, the new ones, and I don't think I've ever been. I felt so much relief when we actually got to see Georgie's arm get bit off.
Yeah.
2017 one. And that sounds sick to say, I know. But like I was so excited we finally got to see it. I was obsessed with that movie when it came out. I watched it 5 or 6 times. I was in the mood for it. I kind of burnt myself out on it. And when I look back on it now, I don't like it as much as I don't love it like I used to. And then Chapter 2 came out in 2019. I saw that when I was in college, and that was a letdown for sure. Even when I saw it for the first time, I was like, yeah, this ain't it. It had a good ending, I thought. Not the spider ending, not the baby Pennywise, melting Pennywise crap. But the about them going their separate ways. It had like a Stand By Me feel at the very end, and I love Stand By Me, so yeah, but I wasn't really a big fan. And then so when this series was announced, I was very skeptical because Andy Muschietti, he uses visual effects very poorly, and we saw it in The Flash.
Yep.
There's a movie called Mama that he made like in 2013. That's terrible visual effects. And then the It movies, that was my one big thing, is Pennywise had way too much CGI on him. He wasn't scary. He just looked like nothing. He didn't really let Bill Skarsgård like shine. He just covered him with so much CGI that I really did not care for that. So I was very skeptical going into this series. And then episode 1, I was skeptical after episode 1 even, because I was like, if they don't retcon what they did in episode 1 and they keep going with this, I think I'll love this series. And then lo and behold, every episode since I loved. It really hits its stride, and 5, 6, 7, and 8 is when it really hits its peak. And it is a phenomenal series for me. I absolutely love it. It's, like I said, it's my favorite narrative series of the year for sure. I mean, it surpasses those 2 movies for sure for me. If I had to rank like the It stuff, the miniseries is still number 1 just because of the nostalgia factor. Then this show, then the first movie, and then the second movie. But I think this is better than both movies Andy Muschietti did, because I felt like while there is, and we'll get to it, there is some CGI problems with it.
Oh, hands down.
He does let Bill Skarsgård shine a little bit more as Pennywise in this. He gives him more where he's able to use his actual face and he's able to actually use his movements, and he's not so drowned in CGI. I think he kind of took some of those complaints from those movies and kind of stepped back on the CGI a little bit, because I don't think it's as horrid in this as it is in those movies. But yeah, that's kind of my background with Pennywise. Tim Curry fan for life. Love Tim Curry's Pennywise. I have a weird obsession with his Pennywise. I quote him. I've quoted him since middle school. I still quote him. I always go beat Richie all the time. I always go too, and I always say kiss me, fat boy. And like, I always do all. he was just amazing, underrated horror performance. If you haven't seen the miniseries and you only seen the new ones, you may not appreciate the miniseries because it is low budget. It was made for TV, but I think people that grew up with it does have a strong cult following for sure. And it's my Pennywise still, so that's my experience. But I just wanted to give that out there because I haven't been able to talk about Pennywise. This is episode 24.
Yep.
And this is the first time I got to talk about Pennywise, and I'm excited because I have a deep fanboy for Pennywise, especially Tim Curry's Pennywise. So yeah, that's my background. What about you, Deontay?
Showtime. Oh man, I could talk about Tim Curry's Pennywise all day. It's for all the parents out there. If you're raising children that's bold and courageous and like horror movies from a young age, you better not make your child watch a Stephen King reboot prior to the original movie, to watching the original Stephen King movie. Like if there's a Cujo reboot, you watch the original Cujo first. If there's The Shining reboot, you watch the original Shining first. And the same thing for the It movie. So you watch the Tim Curry miniseries first, and then you watch the reboot. Do not set your children up for failure like that. You raise them the same way that OGs do it. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like Tim Curry will always be remembered as the creepiest, most well-written killer demonic clown you'll ever see in horror films. And like people might give it shit for being like a low budget miniseries, but at the same time, like it's 1991. So what you expected? What can I compare this to? Like James Cameron level of excellence that early in the 90s? Like no, like let's all be realistic here. Pennywise passed the mantle to Bill Skarsgård, which he's not. To me, he's not terrifying at all, not even the least bit, but he has moments where it's just horror completely done correctly. And it's just like, he just so happened to be the guy that's in the suit. And it's like, oh yeah, I love this for Bill. My favorite Bill Skarsgård role up to this day is still Nosferatu. So he played Count Orlok and couldn't recognize him, but you was able to like enjoy his performance on top of him like ripping people's jugular veins out. And I was like, oh, he just Hollywood's go-to monster, it seems like. And I'm here to see how much further he goes with Pennywise. If there's anything I could give him props for is him and Andy Muschietti came up with this idea that Pennywise should do this dance before he eats somebody. And for some reason, it works on me. Like, you know you're about to get the shit bitten out of you if he does that while he's approaching you. And you see that in a couple of times in Welcome to Derry. And he just like, you screwed up. That means you're mine. And you see it in the It reboots, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. And we'll probably be seeing it in Season 2 and Season 3 of Welcome to Derry. So I absolutely loved it. Bill Skarsgård, keep going. This is a prime example of why Warner Brothers executives are the ones to blame for the Snyderverse failing in DC, because why would you hire a horror movie director to give us The Flash? Why would you call Andy Muschietti for The Flash? And now James Gunn's about to do it again for a Batman series, which you may get away for Batman, but if he brings that same damn visual effects team, we're cooked. So DC fans, you gotta pray for it. Andy Muschietti is the type of guy, like if you're gonna have him involved with anything DC or Marvel related, have him work with like the supernatural dark side of things, you know. He would be my go-to guy for like a John Constantine movie. Maybe a Dead Man for DC or a Zatanna movie, but The Flash, Barry Allen's first live action standalone film, Andy Muschietti was picked for that. and of course shit goes sideways. Of course, like it was so hard for me to forgive Andy for this, and Andy had to work his ass off to get his redemption arc with Welcome to Derry, and it's just 8 episodes of just pure glory. So he's executive producer on this with his wife. He's directed at least 5 out of the 8 episodes, and he's even has a cameo in episode 7. So I like seeing him having fun in this, and he's going to be remembered as a very good horror movie director. And I think him taking on the mantle of the It franchise made Stephen King himself proud, and it made us proud. So I definitely appreciate that. Definitely looking forward to more from him.
Yeah, this is by far his best work he's ever done in any movie or television. It Welcome to Derry is by far the best thing he's done. He really smart writing, really smart, amazing writing, which we'll get to. But it's yeah, I'm with you on the Bill Skarsgård. I'm still Tim Curry's still the man, but I do think he is getting there with Pennywise, especially in the last few episodes of It Welcome to Derry. He really solidified himself as being pretty peak horror icon, getting there for sure. They let him use this because he's able to do things with his mouth and his face that a lot of people can't do, and they let him do that more behind the makeup, and they kind of fell back on the CGI a little bit. And I think if they keep doing that, he could be right there with Tim Curry for sure.
Yeah, it's like because you don't really remember like the actors that don like the suits of other serial killers and monsters and stuff. Like, but you do remember Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger. You do remember Tim Curry's Pennywise, and it's like it's just a clear path for Bill Skarsgård to just join that top 5 or top 3 because it's just like there's so many different Michael Myers that wore the suit. There's so many different people that's donned the ghost face, but there's only been 2 Pennywise actors this entire time, and Bill Skarsgård is like fighting for his right to be remembered as a terrifying cosmic killer clown.
And I'm with you on definitely show the miniseries if you're showing your kids into horror. Show them. I know it may be out of date for them now, but show it to them still because there's a great documentary that came out a few years ago called I think it's called the Pennywise, the making of it, or the story of it. I forgot. You can look it up, but there's a documentary on the making of the TV miniseries, and I watched it this past Halloween, and it was really enlightening. The director, the script, and the director, they had to like literally barely any time to make it. They were forcing them to make it. They were trying to make them cast all these TV people to like all the famous TV stars at the time. They didn't have the budget or the time, and still somehow I think the final product is amazing considering the stress the production team was under for that. So definitely check out that documentary. And yeah, the miniseries will always be in my top 10 horror films. I absolutely love it.
What up, Blake? Thanks for tuning in. We are going in on Welcome to Derry.
But yeah, definitely the miniseries is just like it's crazy what they were able to do with the time and the restrictions that the studio was putting on them, and you know it was a hard process in getting that done. And Tim Curry kind of went through a lot of stress during that whole time. So and he gave an iconic performance that deserves more love, I think, because I always have and my friends, my mom, everybody I'm with always makes fun of me. Every time I see Pennywise stuff, it's always Bill Skarsgård Pennywise. And I'm always like, man, if they had the Tim Curry version, I'd buy that. If it's like a T-shirt, if it's like a Funko Pop, something like that. They don't give Tim Curry his due in merchandising either. Where it's like when you go to horror stores or you go to like horror houses or like places with horror things, it's always the Bill Skarsgård Pennywise now. And that's good that he's getting all the love, but we need more Tim Curry representation out there for Tim Curry's Pennywise for sure. Because I still think he's the GOAT when it comes to Pennywise.
Yeah, you got to pay homage to the OG. I don't know what's wrong with this generation, but Tim Curry, what was so iconic about him is because due to the fact that their budget was so low, they had to play with practical effects a lot. Like it wasn't a whole lot of like visual altering going on. So that's what made it hit harder because it felt more realistic when he killed somebody, and it's just like I, those are images that will never leave my mind at night. When Bill Skarsgård kills someone, it's so cartoony to me, and it's just like there's like only certain moments in his franchise where I had to turn the lights on while I'm watching the movies. Like I'll give you an example. There was what was his name? The Jewish kid from It Chapter 1 that was a part of the Losers Club.
Stanley.
Stanley, yeah, he was terrified of this picture. This horrific and super creepy picture. And when they finally wanted to confront him down underneath Depot Street in the sewers, he managed to get Stanley separated from the boys. And 1 minute is just dark and completely quiet. The next minute you hear footsteps running up, and it's the picture. Pennywise has the picture and is eating his face. And the losers get to him just in time, but Stanley will forever be traumatized because he saw the dead lights and his face was getting chewed off before the losers saved him, because he was just about finished. That image stayed in my head forever. There was a scene with Skarsgård's Pennywise where Ronnie, Hank Grogan's daughter, was basically trapped in her bedroom while like her mother is trying to drag her back into the womb, and it's Pennywise's mouth. That that messed me up. That messed me up bad. But if you were to compare like the horror moments between Skarsgård's Pennywise and Tim had some stuff going on that like I will never be able to shake. Even if he was killing people off screen, like you kind of understood that he was collecting body after body after body and just using people's worst fears to the max potential. And I was like, oh my God. So his creepy factor is way above what Andy and Bill Skarsgård have cooked up thus far. But Jesus, man, Bill Skarsgård is not that far away from catching up.
No, especially after this first season, and like you said, especially his you're talking about his run, his comedic run. That always takes me out of it, where it doesn't terrify me at all. I just laugh my ass off. So like that never works for me. But like Tim Curry, the difference for me between Tim Curry and Bill Skarsgård is, of course, the lack of CGI. They didn't have CGI in the '90s series. They just had some stop motion effects in there. But Tim Curry did it all with his face and his voice. And so I give him credit for that, and it's creepier that way. And also, he walked the better fine line between hilarious and terrifying. He could be hilarious and terrifying in the same moment. And I don't think Bill Skarsgård is quite there yet, because Bill Skarsgård, he can be terrifying at some points, and he can be hilarious, but he can never kind of get both at the same time completely down for me yet. But I think with the next few seasons, he'll definitely be there for sure. He deserves at least a lot of love for this series. Like he deserves, like, I know Emmys are kind of rough, but I think he deserved like an Emmy for this show for sure, for his portrayal of Pennywise.
Absolutely. Yeah, Keith was saying hands down the best show of the year and the start of a Stephen King verse. Yeah, because we're looking
what they're setting up. It's insane how much they're putting in. Absolutely love Tim Curry as an actor, but man, in my opinion, Bill is officially the king here at Welcome Derry. That's blasphemy, Blake. Blasphemy. You take your hand and you spank it. All right. I can respect that. Welcome to Derry. He does bring it. But yeah, and Blake said, Skarsgård is truly creating such a strong foundation for his acting with It and Nosferatu. I completely agree with that. Definitely. I mean, he's been two iconic things now, so that's pretty awesome.
Like, yeah, man. Like, we're basically getting tap into Stephen King's Macroverse in live action. So like we're already like getting way more stuff in Welcome to Derry than we did with the original miniseries because it's just like uh Tim Curry's Pennywise mentioned that he was kind of like a god before, but we didn't know just like the extent of like what type of god Pennywise was. And then moments in Welcome to Derry where he's just like, I am an eater of worlds and all that. Like, yes, he is. Like the only reason he even came to Earth because his natural nemesis, Maturin the turtle, like caged him in this giant cosmic uh, meteorite and sent him to Earth. And that meteorite is now the solution to the losers having so much plot armor for after all these years. So, and that's one hell of improvement that this series needed because it's like the losers, like there's really no explanation why Pennywise can't just catch one alone and kill them real quick and then uh, just wear the rest of them down. And it's just like there was no explanation for that. Really, if all of them together, their power kind of overwhelms him because it's kind of like they're brave together. It's like a force of love that he's up against and no fear at all for him to feed off of. But now we have shards of this meteorite, which keeps Pennywise in check. So he can't just like solo one of the losers by themselves so easily. And then I was like, thank you, Andy, for like throwing that bone for this franchise. So
Oh yeah, this season, this series definitely makes the previous movies better. The previous two movies, it definitely improves a lot. The previous movies for sure, and that's another sign of it being a great series is following up is making something, making the stuff that came before it even better. For sure, absolutely love the explanation of him liking to torment them and build up the levels of fear. Yes, like tastes better, and that's another thing too that Stephen King puts in there that kind of gives them some more plot armor because he's kind of wanting them to be he wants them as tasty as possible. So,
yeah, it
and
is
with
like
Stephen King, he wrote this book in the 80s, and it's famous. He's famously known for. He said that when he wrote it, he was fueled. I think the phrase was fueled by Miller Lite and cocaine, or something to that effect. Apparently, at this time that he wrote it, he said he doesn't even remember writing most of it. That he was so because he was addicted to cocaine at the time and drinking a lot of. He's an alcoholic, and he said when he wrote it, and I mean, if you read the book, which I haven't read the book, but I know about the book quite a bit, it shows that this man was under some substances.
Yeah, a little booger sugar, huh?
He's come out and said that it was basically fueled by cocaine making this, because literally, its nemesis is a giant space floating turtle. So I mean, it's not the most realistic of things, but it gives him freedom, and we'll get into that with the series. It gives him freedom to do a lot of creative things because it isn't anything. He's an interdimensional being. He's not people kind of think, oh, he's just a clown. He can be anything he wants.
He is the deadlights. That's what his true form is.
He's basically the deadlights. We can't really perceive him. Is the whole thing is like we can't perceive his true form as humans, so he can kind of be whatever he wants. The deadlights is like his main thing because humans our mind can't perceive what he actually is what the explanation is. But so we just kind of see those deadlights. But he can be anything. Like we don't get Pennywise in this series until episode, I think 5, at the end of 4 into 5. And for the first 4 episodes there, it's just him being different, like this old creepy man in the woods. Deontay said about Ronnie's mom, that whole sequence was great. And that gives Andy Muschietti, where his CGI can work, is able doing these bombastic, crazy like having a teenage girl in her mother's womb, like a crazy horror scene. Like it gives you carte blanche to do all these crazy horror scenes like that. And then there's like a flying demon baby at the beginning. I mean, there's like all these different things that he gets to be So I really love seeing that. But at the end of the day, I think as fans, and I think Andy Muschietti knows he works best when he's taken on the form of Bob Gray and Pennywise the clown. He just gets Bill Skarsgård is really in it with that. And it is cool that you can get carte blanche and he can be all these things. He can be this, like you said, from like the first It movie where he's like scary painting, or like, or the head.
Uh-oh. Oh no! Don't freeze, Jacob. Oh, you son of a gun. It's always around when the stuff starts getting good that technical difficulties basically comes through. I will elaborate more on the point that he was making, so hopefully they will unfreeze him, or he may just drop back in. We'll see. But yeah, Pennywise being a shapeshifter is a huge problem. We've seen like the bird forming him, and like, oh, is he back?
Am I back?
Yeah, he's back.
They try to kill me, but they don't. I don't know why StreamYard does this to me. I literally have all my Wi-Fi strength right now. I don't know why. Like, my Wi-Fi is perfect. I don't know what is going on. I'm looking at my Wi-Fi status right now. StreamYard, why do you hate me so much? Why?
Hey man, this is bullying, honestly.
But yeah, what I was saying about like the egg boy, the headless thing that gets chased by Ben, he gets to be all these carte blanche things. So that's really fun that he gets to do that. I mean, I prefer him as Pennywise, but that's cool that they can able to do all these other scary. Because like the old man, I think that's episode 2, when he's chasing General Shaw as a kid. It didn't really work for me. It's way too much CGI. It's way too much like.
Yeah. I'm like, man, he's basically getting chased by a dinosaur at this point. Like it. Yeah. I'm like, oh, come on, man. His visual effects team needs so much improvement, because this series is only goated just because of plot and the screenwriting alone for me. Because it's just like, if you're judging this based off of how often you shit your pants watching this series, I didn't.
No, there's not one scene where I'm like, oh, what? I will say actually, the black and white scene where Ingrid Kirsch takes a little girl in the basement, that was pretty creepy. Yeah. When we kind of get a flashback, and with the red balloon and the black and white, that was a good contrast of color. And when he eats the little girl under the door and you just see the blood come under, that was a really great scene in the basement right there.
You can hear the munching and crunching too. So he's like chewing on her and shit.
It's this sweet little girl that's in this like mental hospital, and she's basically luring kids to see her papa. Basically, it's just, I mean, we'll get into it. It's pretty messed up. But I guess before we go deep dive, I want to know, what was your like history with it? Obviously, you probably saw the movies when they came out, but like, when did you start becoming a Pennywise guy?
Because I probably watched maybe like, I think I watched the miniseries as a teenager once, and then I saw it again as an adult, like maybe 2016, 2017, because I was in Las Vegas when I saw the miniseries as an adult for the first time. So it had to have been right before I moved back to Missouri. And it's even creepier as an adult to watch it now. So I'm like, God damn, like watching them transform into that giant spider at the end, and he's facing the adult losers. And it's just like, oh my God, these guys are going to lose. So I still to this day is so puzzled at how the losers were able to beat him that time around. Because it's just like, he made it pretty clear that he is a deity. And if it wasn't for y'all's courage, Pennywise would have slaughtered the losers at that moment. So now we don't have to worry about plot armor anymore. But that right there will leave memories permanently in my head forever. And that's honestly, Stephen King movies is probably the go-to if you want to be traumatized, if anything, because it's like the deaths hit different, especially like the 80s, 90s movies that came out. Like, I'm not talking about any of the reboots right now. Like, you watch like Salem's Lot, or what was the one? It's like here. There's a Wendigo in the forest.
Pet
Pet
Cemetery.
Cemetery, Pet Cemetery. Oh, the original Pet Cemetery.
The original Pet Cemetery is
Holy hell!
horrifying.
Oh my god!
I didn't actually watch Pet Cemetery until like I was in college, and that movie just absolutely just like gutted me to my soul. Like I was like, it's not necessarily terrifying in the way you think it'd be terrifying. It's more terrifying in like it really just festers at your mind and soul and body.
Yeah, I was like, man, this is so messed up, and it just like back then, like it was okay to off screen all these people's deaths and stuff, but then when it was time for a death to be on screen, like they made every director that had their hands in these movies, they made sure they hit. It was like I can't remember, like there was a couple characters that died in Pet Cemetery. I'm like, oh my god, that was gruesome. And then there was like the It series, and Pennywise didn't really kill a lot of people on screen, but you kind of knew that they were dead. And I think what got me the most with the miniseries is just like you had the bully of Henry Bowers, uh, picking on the kids. So like I'm so used to like a hero saving the day, or like the bad guy is going to eat the other bad guy, and the most we got out of that was Henry got hit with the deadlights. We never got to watch him get eaten by Pennywise. Pennywise just didn't give a shit. He's like, "Oh, you're bullying the losers? Have at it, bro. I'm not helping them." It's like
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
in a way, he helps. You know, he ends up helping Pennywise later in life. And
Both the reboot and the original, this dude gives him a knife for a present, and guess who he goes after? The black kid. You son of a bitch, Pennywise! Damn it,
Pennywise, hey, Pennywise even says that line. You know the line I'm talking about. He says that line in the series. The what is it?
Darker meat tastes better. What?
He's like darker meat, twice as sweet, or something. I think
Twice
that's
as
what.
sweet.
I think that's what he says to like. I think he's talking to Leroy Hamlin on the phone, talking about his son. I want to say because he's wondering about Will when he talks to Leroy, the father, and I think that's what he says. Pennywise does not care. He is going to be. He's going to be racist. He's going to be homophobic. He's going to be everything. He wants you to be terrified so you taste amazing.
He knows how to get under people's skins. Like, because there's many occasions where I think Tim Curry's screenwriting, the screenwriting for Tim Curry outshines Bill Skarsgård because his Pennywise was allowed to roast the losers. So like there'd be when they came back to Derry, oh my god! As adults, he was able to talk shit about them.
I mean,
just like
I remember when he shows up, it was Stanley's head in the fridge, and he's like, I'm dead, guys." And then he's like, and then like the "Kiss Me, Fat Boy," of course. And then the when he's in the library and he's swinging that sound machine and laughing,
it's like that's like one of the most iconic memes is when Tim Curry Pennywise is in that library. They didn't really do that with the Skarsgård Pennywise, and that was a kind of a bummer. But
there's some funny scenes. Like there's one I've been quoting a lot where he said, I think it's episode 7 when he's talking to Ingrid Kirsch, and he's like, "I'm Pennywise, your dancing daddy," and I'm like, and I've gone around, I've been saying that I'm your dancing daddy.
You want to give your father a hug?
Oh, is that do I have face on my face?
It's like oh my god,
some great stuff. But yeah, so you didn't really watch the Tim Curry growing up. It wasn't until later in life you kind of started watching it.
I don't remember what age specifically I saw the Tim Curry for the first time. I do know that it was so long ago that like I had to watch it again for the sake of being a grown up, and that had to have been 2017 probably. And holy crap, I'm glad if I would have watched it as a kid, it would have been a hard life for me growing up because I already had to deal with like Nightmare on Elm Street because Freddy Krueger made it hard for me to want to go to sleep because that's what he's doing to people when they dream. So it was like, and now we got this clown that eats kids, specifically kids. And it's like, damn, I'm a kid. Like, fuck. Well, at least I don't live in Derry, Maine. Anybody that has the unfortunate childhood of growing up in that city, just get out of there before he wakes up. You got at least 27 years after he gets a full belly.
He's literally, because I'm 27 right now, so he's literally my whole lifespan is what. So I guess, I don't know, he might be coming now for me. You never know. I'm 27, 27 years. You never know. But the thing that I like about it is, I was just about to say something and I just completely lost my train of thought. Pennywise, what were we talking about?
I know we were like going over like a little bit of backstory with.
I lost my thought completely. It's gone. I'm sorry. Sidebar. No. Speaking of clowns, Blake has a wooden carved clown puppet that his grandpa handmade. Think of Slappy the Dummy, but clown style. It freaks people out who see it. I would be terrified too, actually.
Yeah.
You know what you should do, Blake? You should put that sometime. You should just put that in my bed, and then I'll probably die of a heart attack.
Yeah, right when he wakes up.
That'd be terrifying. But yeah, no. Oh, I know what I was saying. You're talking about. You're glad you didn't watch the miniseries as a kid. I must have been the weird. I guess I'm a weird, twisted individual. Which I guess if you watch this podcast, what am I saying? Podcast. That I'm kind of weird and twisted because I watched those scenes from it over and over on YouTube all the time, and I was like 13 years old watching these scenes like just over and over because I loved being scared at that age. Something about being in middle school and high school, you just wanted to be scared, and like I remember just trying to scare myself all the time, looking up it clips, and like I remember listening to the book, like the audio book. I listened to parts of it, and like I was really into like being terrified by all that.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure if I watched it as a kid, not only would I not forgotten it, I would not be right. I'd probably be going to therapy today for what I saw as a kid, because I'm contemplating going to therapy now for seeing it in 2017, but prior to the reboot coming out. So it's like, damn, this is a 1990s miniseries with the same scare factor as like one of the scariest Halloween movies, scariest Nightmare on Elm Street movies you could watch, and it's going toe to toe with these movies.
Yeah, I think it's scarier than a lot of the slashers for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess diving into the series, we start out in Derry. It's 1952, 62, 52, 62. Yeah, 62.
62.
And because it's 1989 in the first It movie because they updated it, which technically it's set in the 50s in the book, and in the miniseries it's set in the 50s when they're kids. But for the new remake, reboot, whatever, in 2017 they set it in the 80s, which I kind of think they did that to kind of capitalize on the Stranger Things. They even cast one of the Stranger Things actors in it, so I kind of think they try to capitalize on the Stranger Things hype with that. But
Mike Wheeler.
Yeah, we're in 1962. Derry, we're following kind of these. Well, we follow who we think are the main protagonists. We start out with Maddie Clements is the little kid, and he tries to run away. He's abused at home, and we see Ronnie at the theater with her dad, Hank Grogan, who he'll come into play. And he runs away, and then it starts off with him getting in a car with this seemingly nice couple with kids. And then she births the demon baby, and then he ends up disappearing. And then it starts with Phil and Teddy, which Teddy Uris is Stanley Uris's uncle, I think, if we're going by connections here. And it's him, Ronnie, and then Lily Bainbridge. And they're kind of all like hanging out at this kind of like watchtower thingy. And they end up, by the end of episode 1, they're trying to figure out what's going on. Strange things are starting to happen. And then the military's coming in. We get Leroy Hanlon and bringing his son Will in, and Charlotte Hanlon. And they're coming in. The military wants to use. They're working on some kind of secret project with General Shaw running it, and with his friend Paulie. And then by the end of the episode, basically, two of the kids get murked. They just get completely murdered. Actually, no, three. The little girl, I forgot the little sister, but
Yeah, Susie. Oh God.
Phil's little sister Susie. We get to see Ted, Phil, and Susie. They all get completely murdered by Penny. Well, it's not by it as the demon baby in this movie theater, and that's how episode 1 ends. Is with these. And Lily Bainbridge is walking there, and she's holding Susie's little arm in her hand, like still connected to her arm. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And I was so between week 1 and week 2, I was so, and I was like, I hope they don't try to run this back like it was all a vision Pennywise was giving Lily, because they mentioned her being in the asylum before because her father was in a pickle accident where he basically all of his body parts are on these pickle jars, and Pennywise will get to her in episode 2 with that. But so I didn't know. I didn't know if we were getting a vision or what. But then episode 2 starts and they are dead, and I'm like, okay, the stakes are high, because I've always said this: when you kill kids in a show, it basically says that everything's off, nothing's off the table, and I was just. That really gets you into the next episode. As sick as that sounds, but it's true for them to kill all those 3 kids like that and kill what you think are 2 of the main characters. I mean, that was pretty brilliant, the first episode.
Yeah, it kind of makes you feel like Pennywise was destined to lose, because it's just like you don't really see him eating more kids after that in Welcome to Derry, which is for the most part, I think, like, after he has those 3 kids, so Maddie, Teddy, Phil, Susie, that's 4, and then for the rest of the season, he eats like a bunch of adults. He gets nobody else, which is kind of a little weird as far as directing purposes go, because you want Bill Skarsgård to be just as horrifying as Tim Curry's, and Tim had at least a few kids before he went after the Losers Club. And this generation of the Losers, it was about 6 kids, about 5 to 6 kids, and one died
Oh,
because, spoiler alert, suffocating in a fire. And then the rest of the losers,
we'll get to that. That's one of the most, actually, since we're talking about it, we can jump around all we want. This is our show, dang it.
Hey.
Rich Santos, one of the best characters in TV this year. He was my favorite from, I think he's introduced in episode 2, I want to say. He was my favorite. Even before he died, he was my favorite. Every episode, he's so hilarious. He's funny. He's just this Hispanic little kid, and he's in love with Marge, which Rich.
And he swept her off her feet. Oh my God.
He's in love with Marge. She doesn't want anything to do with him at first, and then he ends up being her knight. But
he sure did.
He's hilarious. He's kind of he's the witty one of the group. He's given the one-liners all the season, and then we get episode 7, which is just devastating. Black Spot, devastating, where these bunch of racists come in looking for Hank Grogan, because Hank Grogan, who was at the theater in the first episode, they put the murder on him because he was there at the theater. He owns the theater, and they put Pennywise basically got it where the murder's put on him, and then he's kind of hiding out, and he's actually getting it on with Bob Gray's daughter, Ingrid Kirsch. Who is Periwinkle, and that's why you never mess with a crazy white lady right there.
A little jungle fever to cost everybody.
And then Dick Halloran, which we'll get to him as well.
Dick Halloran.
They all the army Leroy Hamlin and all them, his friends, they kind of hide him out at this base called the Black Spot. It's kind of like a juke joint from Sinners, is what it kind of reminds you of.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you all seen the movie Sinners, the juke joint and that, it's kind of like what this spot is, where they're just there to drink and play music. And he's hiding out in the back there. And all these racist people, like the sheriff, which I think is Henry Bauer's grandpa, I want to say. and is the sheriff, and then he gets fired, I think, actually, but he gets taken off the case, but he's still coming after him, and like the mayor's there and a bunch of racist white guys, and Ingrid Kirsch's husband is there as well, and a shootout occurs, like a whole shootout, and you think it's over, it can't get any worse. Nope, they lock them up, they lock every door, set it on fire, everybody's burning, trying to
escape. Yeah, and they're getting shot trying to escape.
Getting shot when they get escaped, and then of course, it's going to draw Pennywise because a bunch of fear and paranoia that's going to draw him to that spot. And we find out Ingrid actually was the one that gave the tip that Hank was there because she wanted to see her dad. Because for some reason, this crazy lady still thinks that this is her dad, even though this is 1962. Her dad disappeared in 1908. Yeah, but she's 54 years, but she's still holding on that that's her dad. Sure, lady, sure.
Yeah. But, there's just no cure for crazy, man. There's no cure.
Those people killed. There's a great scene where there's this one lady that's like crying over a chair, and Pennywise holds out his hand to help her, and he basically he devours her, and that's where you get, what, is their face on my face?
Yeah.
Like,
and what's crazy because Pennywise is full after that incident. I don't like, who else were you eating? Because it's just like, we've seen you eat a few soldiers. We've seen you eat the general. Well, actually, the general he woke up out of his slumber, and then I guess the general was like the first person he ate since he left. And then oh God, I don't want to dive too much into episode 8, but like the first indicator that Pennywise was full was because he face to face with Ingrid, or actually before he even does anything with Ingrid, her husband is talking mad shit to her. Like, you better go home, girl, before I run my backhand across your head.
Basically rips his head off.
And Pennywise, for the first time in history, uses a weapon. It was like, why did he just transform and shred him? Like, pulls out like this meat cleaver and cuts his head in half and just starts nibbling on the top half of it. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. And that's when Ingrid finally figures out, oh, you're not my father. You're just somebody trying to be him. It's like, no shit, lady.
It's like, and you actually, first person, hey, Adam, what up, man? Yeah, Ingrid was able to give Pennywise a hug. Which is insane. Like, you can hug Pennywise.
I mean, I guess Pennywise is basically using Ingrid how he used Henry Bowers. He's using her because hers is a more innocent approach. She just wants her dad back, which I get, but she's also a grown woman and at least 60-year-old woman. So it's like, I think you should probably give up that your dad's still alive, lady. But and I mean, we find out, like I explained earlier in the black and white episode, where she leads a girl to the basement because she wants to see her dad. And no, we did not. That will be the next episode when we talk about best movies of the year. Don't worry, Adam. That'll be next. Join us for the next episode. But yeah, this we go to the basement, and she's basically taking these, and who knows how many patients she did that with too. That's just one scene, but it's implied that she did that a lot throughout the years with a bunch of kids disappearing, as she just would take them trying to find her dad. And I mean,
daddy issues to the max.
I feel like you should have learned, lady, a long time ago that that's not your father. That's a thing that took the form of your father, because it ate your father back in 1908. But yeah.
And she's still alive. She lived for a very, very long time.
Yeah, because we see her in the later movies as the naked old lady that's running around with Barb. And but yeah, we get like, that scene is so chaotic at the black spot again, where they're shooting. I mean, they're shooting, and the fire's happening, and then they're getting shot as they run, and nobody can escape, basically. And then Pennywise just shows up, and he's doing his little strut. He's just strutting through the fire, just eating these people and like feeding on this fear. But our hero, our man Rich, Pennywise doesn't get him. He goes out on his own accord. He basically puts Marge in a fridge, and it's basically a Titanic situation. There's not enough room for both of them. but this time there actually isn't enough room because in Titanic there was enough room. But Rose was a dirty little lady, okay, and you know what? Jack had room on that door, but that's
she had to make way for her side piece.
Yeah.
So, sorry,
but,
Jack.
Rich kind of just lays his body weight on the fridge and dies of smoke inhalation, and that's I literally got tears in my eyes. Like that almost brought me to just crying. Like, and that's hard to do for me. Anything to make me cry. So like, man, just that really gave me goosebumps. And his whole dialogue scene he gives there about how knights don't just pee in pots next to their bed. They protect fair maidens. And he says, and Marge says she loves him and he loves her too. And he goes out a G. He goes out a hero. He dies protecting her. And Pennywise doesn't get him. He dies on his own accord protecting her. Yeah. And that's part of the whole series, Rich's death. And best character of the series for me. And
hands down.
One of the best episodes of TV I've seen in a long time was that episode. Just the whole black spot situation, how horrifying that was. And then the heroics of Rich just being that guy. Just Rich is that man. And then, I mean, when we get to episode 8, we get an awesome redeeming for Rich.
Mm-hmm. Rich, because that whole episode 6 is kind of what led up to the black spot incident too. That, in my opinion alone, is probably the best. No, it is the best episode in the entire first season. Because it's like you got so many things happening, like the fallout from episode 5 when Pennywise finally revealed, the kids trying to confront or at least rescue the other kids like Phil and Teddy going down in the sewers, and they have no idea that the shapeshifted Maddie is actually Pennywise. And then the U.S. Air Force is going down to confront this creature at the exact same time. Pennywise is not only wiping out the soldiers, he's getting ready to reveal his true self to the losers. And Will's dad is down there with his best friend. His best friend ends up taking a bullet for Will. And I was like, oh my God. And like,
Paulie.
Yeah, rest in peace, Paulie. Like, there's so many like tragedies. Like, it's like the perfect formula for an It series. Something really fucked up has to happen. And it's like there's more things to worry about than just Pennywise and his hunger. And then you have scenes like in the very next episode where Will's like yelling at his dad. His dad is just like, at least I'm there for my friends, and his dad just hauls off and smacks the dog shit out of him. And the whole family's reaction to that shook my soul to the core. And I was like, dang, like you can't really blame Leroy for doing that, but when you see the look on Will's face, it's just like, yeah, maybe you went too far for hitting him. And it's like another one of my favorite characters is Charlotte Hanlon. Like,
I'm not even going to be a pervert here, but she is a gorgeous lady. All right, Charlotte Hanlon, that's a gorgeous woman right there. Let me tell you, boy.
So freaking fine. And she, for me, it's like a toss up between her and Richie Santos. Like, on a good day, she's my number one favorite. On a day when I just want to be in my feels, it's all about Rich.
Rich is mine, but I can see Charlotte because Charlotte's the one. She was a civil rights activist back where they were from in Louisiana, and she's basically trying to help Hank Rogan out. Which Hank Rogan, it's not his fault, but at the same time, you idiot, man, come on. He kind of leads to the demise of a lot of people just because he's trying to get some crazy white lady. It's like, come on, man. Come on, Hank.
Like, Jesus Christ, man. Charlotte Hanlon is played by Taylor Page, and she's been known for she's been a few classic movies, but
she was in One Battle After Another that came out this year too.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, she's the perfect character in this series because she's like the one adult that gives a damn about the kids until Leroy ends up following suit later when he realized like Pennywise is preying on his son too. It's just like, yeah, well, the Air Force is here to supposedly do something with the cage to keep Pennywise in check. But really, General Shaw just wanted to set him free.
Yeah, we basically find out that General Shaw, played by James Remar, by the way,
The
legendary
legend,
actor. He's been in The Warriors, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. He's one of the
Mortal
Warriors.
Kombat.
He
Oh
was
yeah.
in that. He was in Tales from the Dark Side, which is a really good anthology horror film from the late '80s, early '90s. That era. He's been in a lot. James Remar's a classic actor, and he plays a great idiot in this movie or this series because like we find out that he hung out with this Native American named Rose, and when they were kids, and he was kind of in love with her, and he kind of encountered Pennywise, and she saved him, and that stayed with him his whole life. And then it's in the '60s, and they're trying to, race riots are happening, and all the turnover that happened in the '60s is beginning to happen, and the military basically wants to use Pennywise to basically control fear, like control the citizens somehow. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, really, when you think about it. But they're dumb military, I guess. I don't know, but
Yeah. He
they're
makes
trying
my
to.
ranch look
It's
bad.
like the Native Americans have these 13 pillars, which is they took the pieces of the meteorite that it came down from back in whatever or late 1800s, whatever that was, and they basically put 13 pillars around Derry, Maine, and Derry, Maine is basically a cage. It's not a town. It's a cage for Pennywise, basically, and the army is trying to destroy all of them so that let them free because they think somehow that's going to help America. That's going to help control the citizens of America. I don't.
He
Which
gave United States a brand new
sounds,
weapon of mass destruction.
yeah, it sounds ridiculous. Like I get, like if they want to use him, like maybe in war or something, but they want to use it in America, like on our own citizens. They're trying to use it to like control us, which it's sad to say that sounds ridiculous and like a dumb story plot. But I could totally see in the times we're living in now the government trying something like that, which is very say about our situation in real life. But not to get too political here, but it's sad to say it's not that far of a reach to think the government would try something like that.
Yeah,
Like this crazy entity that they have no idea, no handle on. He just saw him when he was a kid, terrified him, and he thinks he's gonna be able to control him now. And that's where Leroy comes in. They bring in Leroy specifically because in battle he got injured in a part of his brain where the fear happens. So he can't experience fear. Basically, he doesn't have the capability of fear because of this damage that happened to his brain. Some shrapnel or something hit him in the head, and he can't. In the war in Korea, I think it was Korea. Yeah, and then he so he can't experience fear. So they want to use him to get Pennywise because Pennywise, they know it feeds on fear. But I mean, it doesn't really work out, obviously.
it was like you'll find out one way or another that dude is a deity, man.
And then they're also using, which we can bring in my second favorite character is Dick Halloran.
Oh yeah, played by the legendary Chris Chalk.
They're using Dick Halloran in as because he has The Shining, obviously, which he's from other Stephen King universe. He's in The Shining, Doctor Sleep that came out a few years ago. He's a classic Stephen King character, and they're using his Shining, to kind of figure out where these pillars are, and then kind of help keep get in the mind of whatever it is, try to get in its mind and take over it, which we get some cool scenes with that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Dick Halloran is amazing in this. He kind of, especially, and I love how they take the whole thing from Dr. Sleep where he taught Danny to put all his fears in these boxes in Dr. Sleep. And that's in the movie Dr. Sleep, and they incorporate in here where Pennywise basically just rips open his box, and then he becomes basically schizophrenic, where he's seeing dead people all over the place, and like he's drinking himself to death because that's all he can do, because all he hears is just dead people coming for him because he finally acknowledged them because he had to try to find Pennywise. And just Chris Chalk playing him, that great performance, amazing.
Oh man, so good. He was my where did I put it? He was my number 3 under Richie and Charlotte. Chris Chalk. If you guys are are really big fans of Chris Chalk after seeing his performance in this show. He is in the Gotham series, which is like the prequel to all the Batman stuff. He plays Lucius Fox. Yeah, he was a
I
great
just
Lucius
connected
Fox.
that. I just
Yeah,
connected that. I loved that Gotham show when it was on TV. I watched every episode of that.
it
I
was so
just
good.
connected. That's where I know him from. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he looked familiar, but I forgot. But yeah, okay, yeah, I made that connection now.
He did such a great job as Lucius too, and it's like holy cow! Like I'm so ready for Chris Chalk to get more iconic roles because he will now be our young Dick Halloran forever. Because like, please do not replace him. There won't be anybody that's going to be a better Dick Halloran than him, other than the guy who is Dick Halloran originally. So
And Carl Lumbly, three people play him technically. Scatman Carruthers plays him in the original Shining from 1980, and then Carl Lumbly, who actually plays in Falcon and the Winter Soldier too, he plays Dick Halloran in Doctor Sleep that came out in 2019, the sequel.
man, Carl Lumbly, man, he is iconic actor.
But yeah, we get great, and Dick Halloran, we get the great with his all his shining abilities. I love that, and I love all the Stephen King ties into other stuff. Like we get Hank is going to Shawshank.
Yeah,
I love the Shawshank Redemption reference, and it's setting up all these ideas for a Stephen King universe. And I was thinking this: if they do this right, and if this is well written as a show, they could basically rival the Marvel universe with the Stephen King universe. If they bring in like Cujo, Shawshank, Pet Cemetery, all of those like that, and make like a whole TV movie universe, kind of like an MCU, but a Stephen King universe version of that. Now, obviously, don't MCU-ify it, like make it dark and twisted and have its own tones and stuff, but they could really do something here with all this Stephen King stuff that this show brings up.
yeah. And as far as the horror aspect goes, like we could even say it's competitive with the Conjuring verse because the Conjuring verse
Oh,
is
it could
like,
easily wipe the floor with the Conjuring verse done
oh
right.
yeah. It's like now that we're connecting all of these movies, like even the hotel that Dick Halloran was once employed at, they hinted at that at the season finale. It was like, how much trouble can one hotel be? And it was like, oh my god, everybody in the room knew exactly what he meant. Oh,
But she said he was going to London.
mm-hmm.
So, because obviously the Overlook is in America. I think it's in Colorado or somewhere in that area. So I don't know if that's where he goes before the Overlook. But there could be a cool show where he ends up going to the Overlook and showing his experiences at the Overlook before Jack Torrance and their family came, and like seeing like a Dick Grady, the previous caretaker that went crazy and murdered his twins, and like seeing kind of how he experienced that. I mean, we could get a lot of cool things out of this. And I loved every time I made the joke because The Shining, the 1980 Shining, is my second favorite horror film of all time, right behind Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I love seeing Dick Halloran is one of my favorite parts of that. But every time I was seeing him, I was like, in 18, because I was like, well, I know Dick Halloran's not going to die because in 18 years he's going to get an axe to the chest by Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, we already saw his demise coming.
Yeah,
I'm sure Pennywise seen it too.
Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet watching him in the series because in 18 years from now he's going to get a big axe to the chest trying to save Danny Torrance.
Oh
But
man, sheesh, man! I am
cool things.
my fandom of Stephen King just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and I've only read like maybe 2 or 3 of his books. All of my fandom in the Stephen King stuff, it's just because the movies that's been put out. And
well, you're better than me. I haven't read any Stephen King book, so
yeah,
I only know the movies like Stand by Me, Shawshank, Misery. Those are some of my favorite movies of all time. So
yeah, Misery was a great book. Cujo was a great book. What else did I haven't read the It books yet, but I want to read The Long Walk now, and I'm definitely going to read Shawshank.
The Long Walk, and we get another connection there. The guy that plays the Native American kid in Long Walk plays Taniel in this series. Taniel Rose's, I think it's nephew.
Nephew, yeah. So I wonder if
That's the same actor. I know there's no connection there. They just cast the same actor, but that's pretty cool that he was in 2 Stephen King adaptations in the same year.
Yeah, I'm about to Google who directed The Long Walk. Maybe there's some connection there, but
Uh, Francis Lawrence, who directed a few of the Hunger Games movies, directed The Long Walk. So
man, legendary stuff, man. And then you have like Mark Hamill making appearances too, because Mark Hamill and Stephen King got some history between each other too. And it's just like, man, and it's all just great content that's connected. And
you also got like The Life of Chuck that came out this year. I just watched that last night. It's on Hulu right now. If you guys want to watch it, it's really good. I liked it. It's a different type of story, but we're getting a lot of Stephen King content lately, and I'm here for it because the man. He's kind of a little out there, kind of a little crazy, but I mean, he's got a brilliant mind for great stories.
he's one of the most creative authors I've ever known. Honestly, he probably is my number one author when it
I
comes
mean,
to
I can't think of
storytelling.
an author that I'll watch some if it has his name attached, I'll watch that movie. Like I haven't read
Mhm.
any of the books, but like I'm just have such a great track record with a lot of his movies that like if it's a Stephen King adaptation, I'm like I'm here for it. Okay, I want to see what this does.
Yeah, I get screwed up no matter what I do because like something is new and I'm just now finding out about his Long Walk. It's like the common theme with all these different materials is just like something really fucked up is going to happen in this movie. It doesn't
And there's
necessarily have to
also
be scary, but it's going to be messed up.
and there's also a lot of good he really likes a good coming of age tale too, whether it's finding your place in the world type thing with like Stand By Me, even Shawshank, Finding Hope. He has some hopeful tones in his stuff too, like a lot of kids coming together to find themselves, and that's prevalent because if you watch like Stand By Me is kind of like the precursor to It in a way because the kids are kind of like the same in Stand By Me as it is It's that same type of dynamic where the kids are all growing up together and trying to figure out life. So
Yeah, dude, I really don't know anybody who can tell a story as good as he does. It's they give that man more cocaine so we can so his work never ends. But I understand he's getting old and he he wants to enjoy the money he made off of all of these franchises. So you do your thing, Stephen King. You earned it. Um, my
I
God,
heard,
welcome to Derry.
yeah, we get like Lily Bainbridge, who's going throughout the entire series. That girl is just being traumatized. I mean, she just got out of the asylum, and then she's seeing her dad in a pickle jar in the restaurant, I mean, not the restaurant, the grocery store. When her
Right.
dad's in the pickle jar, we see that in I think episode 2 or 3 when she runs into Pennywise as her dad. All of his body parts coming together out of the pickles. That was a pretty cool scene. It was heavily CGI. I wish they kind of went a little more practical with what they did there. Kind of took me out of it a little bit, but it was still it was pretty cool how he did that.
And the build up to that was even creepier than that. Like so, like the CGI when they finally got to the nit of what was going to happen, what was supposed to happen in that grocery store. Uh, the lead up when all the different like aisles were like moving and getting ready to cage her in so she'd be stuck. And there'll just be one random like grown ass man peeping around the corner to stare at her, and I'm like, holy hell, this is terrifying.
Yeah, and it's like in the whole first 4 episodes, you're just waiting for you're like looking every time something creepy happens. You're like, is Pennywise going to come out now? And they really savored the flavor with him there, and I'm glad they did. I'm glad they waited till like episode 5 to
Life.
properly introduce him. I'm glad they kind of built it up.
Yeah, and it's just like the Pennywise just got tired of just shape shifting so much. He's like, all right, I'll just eat you like this.
Like the
And
whole cemetery sequence when they're running in the cemetery trying to get a picture of the thing, and then that's how we figure it out.
yeah, and it's like, oh my god, that's probably like my hugest complaint of this because that cemetery scene was just like Andy Muschietti's notorious visual effects nightmare.
I saw a lot of people complain about the cemetery where it's like it looks like they're just on a screen basically with the background. Yeah,
you can see the blue screen behind them, and then you look like you see the fog that Pennywise is creating, which looks like somebody was just bullshitting on Adobe Premiere Pro with this basic ass fog that the kids are riding their bikes through. And it's just like, this is too much CGI, bro. Like,
I will say it was pretty creepy though to find out that because when they take the picture, we think it's Pennywise they get a picture of, and then we figure out in episode 8 that it's actually, or 7 or 8, that it's Periwinkle that was creeping around the kids. Like she was following these kids. Like that was a real 60-year-old grown woman in her clown costume from when she was a kid, stalking these kids in a graveyard, basically.
Hoping to find her daddy.
And yeah, I mean, I guess we can explain that too. So basically, she came to Derry in 19. Her dad was Bob Gray, who was Pennywise the dancing clown, the performer. He was a circus performer. His mom was Periwinkle. And it was Pennywise and Periwinkle. They were a dual act. Her mom died, and then she wanted to be Periwinkle, so she was kind of the little Periwinkle, where she dressed up as like, which she looks creepy too, dressed up as a clown, even though she's not anything, demonic or like a entity like it is, but she still looks creepy, Periwinkle. But and she still has this costume 50 something years later. But yeah, she's Periwinkle. Her dad's Bob Gray. They're at this traveling circus in Derry. Bob Gray goes out for
a little cigarette break.
Yeah, Pennywise shows up first, or the entity shows up as a kid, and he's watching Bob Gray's Pennywise from a distance, and he's watching him entertain all these kids. Like, and then he catches them later that day.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to that child actor, because that child actor's stare at Bob Gray was like, holy cow. And
yeah,
I don't know, how do you teach a kid to just stare at somebody like you're just starving to death? You're about to jump on what you're staring at. And
Bob is just sitting there smoking a cigarette, and the kid comes out and he's like, "The kid's seen John to you."
Yeah.
And Bob Gray even and Bill Skarsgård is great as Bob Gray, playing the pre-monster version of Pennywise, like he's playing a real human. Boy, that hairline though.
Woo!
Poor Bob Gray. Bob Gray was already having it rough before he ran into the that hairline. Gosh dang, that hairline.
Man, he was going through it, man. His wife passing away stressed him out that much.
Yeah, he was just sitting there smoking a cigarette, and the entity shows up as a kid, and just
he was like, "Will you come help me find my family?" And he uses his reality warping ability to make us screaming in the background. It was like, "Yeah, we need your help. Come rescue us." And takes him by the hand, and that's where it goes.
Yeah, his mother's basically screaming, and then he decides to take on the form as Bob Gray because the kids seem drawn to that Pennywise the clown, and that's where the Pennywise the dancing clown comes from. And the entity holds on to that for years and years later. 50 years later, he's still holding on to that same entity, and then into the 80s and 100 years later, he's still showing up as Pennywise the clown. He kind of just, the entity takes that form, and that's the one he kind of sticks with the most.
Yeah, and this is the same episode as the Black Spot Fire. It's literally just like the first act of episode 7, where we get what made Pennywise, or what made the Deadlights choose the form of a clown. And then you even see Andy Muschietti as one of Bob Gray's like assistants in the background. I'm like, oh, look, that's Andy. So Andy directed that episode. It was a very fun episode. I would say maybe my second or third favorite out of the whole first season. But what was I about to say? So yeah, Bill Skarsgård ends up getting eaten. Pennywise goes on from that point on, and he wreaks havoc as a clown. I was like, all right.
And we learned that the Native Americans have known about this entity since it showed up, and they they have a group, and they have a meeting where every 27 years they have the meeting where they're like, how many kids were lost, and they like keep count of how many kids and how many things the entity took, and they're like, I think in 1962, I think it took a little less than it took in the 30s, and they're like, okay, so it's getting better. So like the Native Americans actively know what's going on, but it's kind of like a contained evil where like they can't really do anything about it, but they can contain it at least, even though all these kids are still getting murdered every time and they know about it. They can't really do much about it. They can just try to contain it and not let it go to everywhere else.
And then military intervention ended up ruining that plan. It was like, damn, man. Luckily, this was the so according to what we've seen so far, this is the only time military intervention almost risked ending the entire world, because it's like you destroyed one of the pillars and left a huge opening for Pennywise to run out of. And luckily, the loser stopped him from getting out.
If it wasn't for our heroes, Will, Ronnie, Lily, and Marge, that end up putting the pillar back in the tree with the help of Rich.
Yeah.
Spirit of Rich was epic comeback by Rich. I loved seeing his spirit, and he even flips off Pennywise. That was just epic. Him flipping off Pennywise and then giving them that extra push they needed to put that pillar back down in that tree, which was epic. And then I love that scene. That gave me goosebumps. And then the scene at his funeral when he's sitting there and he's got his hand on his parents, and Dick Halloran is like, he's still here. That feeling on your shoulder, that's your son. He's still here with you. And him seeing him. And he's able to do that because he didn't die. He wasn't consumed by the entity of Pennywise. He died on his own accord. So he's a spirit now that Dick Halloran can see, which was that was a pretty cool way to bring a fan favorite character back.
That was the scene that choked me up, because watching that funeral for Richie, it was just like, we finally see his parents for the first time. Parents are grieving as they should. And Rich just like, let me say hi to the losers real quick, and then I'm going to go and just chill by them. And Dick's like, I'm going to do him a favor and tell him that Rich is right behind him right now. And it's just like, yeah. If that was my son, that was I would have cried.
Goosebumps, emotional for sure.
Yeah, that's probably hands down the most tragic death of 2025. Easily.
Oh yeah, it broke my heart when I was like, oh man. I knew when Marge got in there, I was like, there's not enough for him. He's gonna get on top of it. I was like, he's gonna shut her in there, and I was like, oh no, Rich, don't do it.
Damn it, Rich.
I was to the TV. I was like, no, Rich, no, don't do it. But he became a knight, like he said he was.
He sure did. Yeah, like and just moments before that, we saw like the other losers escaping out of the black spot. So I was like, why couldn't Rich and Marge escape? But I guess there might have been some circumstances that went into that. I let that whole slide, just for the sake of storytelling. Like you want Rich to sacrifice himself, do it. But he could have lived. He could have lived. God damn it. We could have. At least I think so.
He comes back and helps him in the end, where Pennywise is chasing him, because basically there's this tree that is like the farthest edge of Derry, and if he gets past it, he's free. He can go wherever he wants, and they stop him in time, and it's because Rich comes and gives him that extra push to put that pillar back down to kind of lock him in.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about the pillars like in the future It movies anymore. So it's just like that generation of losers literally saved the entire planet, probably, from whatever the Deadlights was planning on doing to it.
And then Dick goes in his head, and like Dick helps too in that. He kind of gets in Pennywise's head, slows him down, and I love when he's in his head and he slaps him. And Pennywise Pennywise is like, I'm not a human. Wait a minute. He's like, I'm an eater of worlds. And he turns Pennywise into a human. He wakes up, he's like, I'm not Bob Gray.
He slaps him so hard.
That was a great performance by Bill Skarsgård playing the entity there while also kind of being human in the human form at the same time. That was really cool.
Man, and Pennywise got fed up after that moment. It was like, oh, that slap guy.
And then all of a sudden he sees his hand and it turns black. And he looks at his black hand. He's like, I know who you are now.
Oh,
He figured
Dickie.
he says, Dickie. Like,
like,
oh man, oh man.
like, oh my Jesus. There's so many like slam dunk moments for the writers and the directors of this series that it's just like, man, it's hard to stay mad at Andy Muschietti for the Flash because fuck Warner Brothers.
Yeah. To like Marge, like we end up Richie in the regular Losers Club, the main Losers Club from the 80s, and of course the original story. We can basically infer that Marge named her son after her first love, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Richie is kind of named after Rich. We get to see his namesake, and those are cool connections. Like we see, like Leroy Hanlon is Mike Hanlon's grandfather, and he's still. And would they decide to stay in Derry there at the end? And they have the goat farm, and like
Yeah,
you see that in the It movie, and we kind of see. I like seeing those connections of like the family ties of different people in there. And then we find out that which was the crazy scene where he shows Marge a picture. Pennywise shows Marge a picture of Richie, a missing poster of Richie of her son. It says, "This is your son." Him and his friends basically kill me, and he's like, "Or is it my birth?" He said, "I don't really know, my death or my birth." He's like, "I don't really know these things." And then we basically figure out that time is the same to Pennywise. So this isn't a prequel. This is actually a sequel. Pennywise is actually time traveling now. Well, for us, he'd be time traveling. For him, it's just he doesn't know time, but he's basically time traveling, and that's how this series is set up. So, like, because the Losers beat him in 2019, he went back to before they were born to try to get their parents and like their family, you know, families that were tied to them, and that obviously doesn't work. So now he's going to try to go back now in the next season to the 30s when the whole armed robbery stuff happens, and that's probably not going to work. And then he's going to go back to the 1900s with the Ironworks fire and try that. So basically, it is a prequel, but at the same time, it's a sequel to the movies because the events of It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 have already happened, and he knows that
he's going to die.
He knows he's going to die, so he's trying everything he can to go back. That was such a smart writing reveal that I absolutely love. Like I didn't think about that at all until he said that, and I was like, wait a minute, if he has the picture of Mike, and then he said about how time is all the same to him, I was like, oh, well then basically this is a sequel, not a prequel, and he's going back. This is like a time travel type thing.
Yeah, and it's like he's doing what he can to stop the Losers from being born, but the Losers always manage to have some kind of protection from Pennywise. So I don't know if it's something to do with maturing the turtle that's like getting involved. Like you can kill other kids, but you're not going to kill these specific kids because it's their job to take you down. And it's like, oh my God. And it's just so much things that you can learn. Like you could tell like this is a love letter to not only Stephen King fans, but this is a love letter to It fans, like the book readers, the people who enjoyed the miniseries and the reboot. This was nothing but lore. Like we learned new things about Pennywise. We learned new things about Derry, and God, and this Andy and his team basically put this story together leading up to the Black Spot fire incident. So that was canon in the story. The Black Spot is canon in the It books, but Andy created all of these events leading up to it, and he's going to have to do it again for the other incidents too. So I'm so excited for season 2 and 3, and like HBO need to stop stalling and give us some release dates for these.
Yeah, it's just really smart writing, and it's a smart way to take material from media of all. It's taking material from the book, it's taking material from the miniseries and the movies, and it's all mixing them all together. And it's taking material from other Stephen King stories at the same time and other movies. And it's taking all of this stuff, and it's like really incorporating it well and setting things up where we could go all these different directions, and it's so well done in that way.
Yeah, the horror genre is where Andy Muschietti belongs for sure. Y'all bring him back to DC, at least give him something that's up his alley, and the less CGI needed, the better.
Yeah, that's really my only complaint with the show is the CGI sometimes is not up to par, not that great. Where you're like, oh, it don't look good, buddy. But that's
Like,
my only gripe really with the show is that.
yeah, because it's like I'd give Welcome to Derry a 10 out of 10 easily, but because of the visual effects and the fact that my moments of trying to have escapism while watching this show get ruined because of the visual effects, like outside of that, because we all know like Pennywise is a reality warping cosmic deity. We really didn't need that much proof of him like altering stuff all the time. Like there were still moments of great storytelling all throughout this first season, without Pennywise just getting over the top. And if I could give advice to Andy Muschietti is let's try to keep Pennywise less over the top going forward. Like you take advantage of the children's fear. It's about as far as you should go. Everything else is just crazy. Unless you plan on doing better with visual effects, then have at it.
Like with the old man that's chases General Shaw when he's a kid, like you could have done that more practical for sure. I think the whole Ronnie's mom, the pregnancy, that CGI worked because it's so fantastical and out of this world that works.
Yeah.
So sometimes it worked, and like Marge when she basically
the eyeball
damages her eyes, the eyeball that was actually pretty messed up because like she has to basically shave her eye off, and like she becomes messes up her one eye.
That patch, yeah.
So it's like sometimes it works, but then sometimes, like I said, the old man in the woods, and sometimes with Pennywise, this kind of takes away the fear. Kind of let Bill. I mean, you have such a talented actor in Bill Skarsgård. We saw that with Nosferatu and what he can do with Pennywise without the CGI. Just let him do let him be free of the practical effects and let him do his physical work and kind of do his face and his eye movements and stuff like Tim Curry did. And let him kind of be more Pennywise in the makeup and not with practical effects and not so much, dousing him in CGI all the time.
Yeah, like come on, like I think the most you should use for him is when his face like rips open for the deadlights. Like that's the most CGI you could use.
That works, but like other than that, it just doesn't really. We don't need CGI on Pennywise other than that. I do love when he's at the school and all the stakes are there, and he comes out and he does his little dance, and then he gets all of the kids with the deadlights, and then they're all floating, and he's got his little circus wagon from Bob Gray.
Yeah, and he's like got a trumpet. He's leading them to the exit. That was creepy as shit.
It was so cool. And then like the kids having to like drive the milk truck and then trying to stop them.
It's like, oh my God. And like Dick Halloran was a huge help, like tracking them down, being able to stall them out or stall Pennywise so they could get closer to the tree. And then it was just iconic teamwork. Like they couldn't have set the finale up even better than that. There's no way.
And then the army tries to mess up, and they end up killing Taniel, killing Roses, one of the leaders of the Native American tribe, killing her nephew, and then he gets shot in the neck, and then Leroy gets shot, but he survives. And then we see General Shaw, basically, he walks up to it kind of with his ego, thinking he can talk with him or whatever, and then Pennywise remembers his smell from when he was a kid. He's like, I never forget a smell. Then he just goes down on James Remar's face and General Shaw and just eats him. And it's like, well, that's kind of what you get there, buddy.
Yeah, you should have known better, you goofy fool. Like, and what's even crazier is just like they off-screen his death too. Like, show it. I can understand you off-screening the kids
Yeah,
Pennywise eating the kids, but like these Air Force assholes deserve it. Show every single one of them getting chewed up. There was even one point in this, I want to say like episode somewhere between 6 to 8, where the indigenous people had their meeting and they named a specific number that
yeah,
Pennywise ate. It was 17, and it took 17 people, which a vast majority of them were adults, to fill Pennywise's stomach. So I wonder if they're going to elaborate more on that in the future. Like, how many does it take to fill Pennywise's stomach, and he'll go back to sleep?
yeah. He's like, I'm going to sleep now, and like he said that during the black spot, but then he goes on to kill some more in episode 8, and like with the Losers Club, like he doesn't go to sleep, which Periwinkle kind of awakens.
Or the General Shaw like ordered one of the original pillars to get burned in some kind of magma, and that's what woke him up.
Yeah, that's what woke him. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I was trying to remember which, and then we get one of the probably the baddest, sickest look of Pennywise, where the blood's up to like about his nose, mouth area, and he's just covered in red because he's basically sleeping in the blood of children, basically. And like that great scene at the end of episode 7 where Will's on the phone with him, and he's
I can't hear you.
on the fridge behind him, like on top of the fridge, perched up like a little cat or something. It's just like that was such a great. So he's like, I'm not afraid of you, and then he's just like, yeah, that was amazing.
Like, Jesus. And what another cool thing that he did with that was like, you hear him over the phone for like the first 2 times he says it, and then that voice in the background is like, ain't no way this motherfucker's in the house with Will right now. And the camera just cuts right to him. It's like, oh my God, Will's about to die.
Perched up on the fridge.
I was like, oh, he used that lights. Good. Will's going to live. I'm like, Will's got to live because that's Mike's dad. Mike Hanlon's dad.
Yeah. And I mean, that's another thing with this going back in time. We kind of know the fate because we know Mike ends up dying in a fire too. Yeah. When Will ends up dying in a fire too when he's an adult. When Mike's a little kid, after he has Mike, he ends up. I forgot what the fire was called, but all those people die in that fire there.
Yeah, in chapter 1 in the reboot, like they even have a scene where like Mike is by some kind of butcher area, and Pennywise starts messing with him with like hands coming out the door. There's like a fire burning, and people are trying to escape. And that is one of the most iconic horror scenes in the reboot that I loved a lot because it's like, oh my God. And then you see Pennywise in the very, very back once the door flies open. And that's like the first silhouette that we see of him in the entire movie. It's like, holy cow. Well, actually, no, because there is the iconic scene where he kills Georgie.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah. It's just sad that we know Mike's going to bite, or Will's going to bite the bullet.
Yeah. Rest in peace, man.
But which, in a weird way, like I said, this is a sequel. So maybe in a weird way, they can alter the time. I don't know how that'll work because if they it's already, I guess those things had to have. It's like kind of like the thing with like the Back to the Future logic or Avengers Endgame. Time travel logic is so free and so like you can't really pin it down the logic completely. So it's kind of like I don't know how it works.
I think going forward, like we're about to find out what the actual plot armor is because it's like if Pennywise fails in 1935 and 1908, he's traveling back in time for nothing. So, or at least he gets a free meal out of it. He get to eat a few kids before the losers beat you again. It's like, oh, poor Pennywise. He's just
but at the same time, because when he gets defeated, those moments have already happened for him. So when he's going back, it's like he almost should know already what's going to happen. So he should have like an up on the kids because he already knows what the kids are going to do. But, because maybe it's a different timeline. I don't know. There's so much there that they can do with it that we kind of have yet to figure out how they're going to work that.
Yeah, if they solve that riddle, this will be the most bulletproof franchise ever. Because it's just like Pennywise was basically sent to Earth, not only being sent to Earth as a punishment, but destined to die as a punishment, no matter how much influence he tries to have on his own fate.
Yeah, but I didn't expect that at all with the series at the end there, where basically this series is considered a sequel to the movies and not a prequel. I always thought of it as a prequel, and that was such a good twist. Seeing Mike Wheeler's poster, and knowing that Marge basically she saw her son when she's only 13. But that's thinking how trippy that would be for you to see your kid, on a missing poster that you don't even have yet.
Yeah,
And then them kind of explaining that, her talking to Lily about it, and how I think it's already happened. I think he's trying to go back and stop him. And then she's like, well, what if they don't? And Lily's like, well, that's somebody else's problem.
yeah, and he just lost to this. He lost to this generation, so we can pretty much bank on the fact that he's going to lose again. So he's going to lose 2 more times, and it's just like, is that when he gives up, or is he going to where is this going to go?
There's so many infinite possibilities because of what it is, the entity is, and like the rules are so loose that you can do so much with it.
It's like, yeah, it's like you can't beat the losers, so you might as well just enjoy the amount of kids you can eat. So I think that's all that's going to be about. Pennywise going back to 1908, and probably they could keep going, but I think they should stop at 1908. So like after that incident and Pennywise is defeated again, call it good and work on another franchise like Dick Halloran or.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think I don't think you can get much more out of that. I think you can go with like take the information from the books or whatever, and but once you kind of run out of that material, like the Ironworks and the armed robbery gang that comes in the 30s, once you kind of run out of that, you kind of got to move on or end it and wrap it up somehow. I don't know how, but
right. Because there's so many Stephen King's books that you can expand on, and once we're done with it, man, you could go fool around with Pet Cemetery, you could fool around with Salem's Lot, you could fool around with a lot of stuff. So don't be stuck there. Honestly, going forward, if we're going to have like a connected Stephen King live action universe, I want to see Andy Muschietti do more of these. Like, I feel like he got the chemistry for it now. Whoever made the decision to give It franchise to him, that was a good call. That was a good call.
Yeah, my only note is maybe work with a different visual effects team.
Yeah, please. I want to be terrified again.
Work with which he used the excuse for the Flash that like the Flash was warping time, so that's how they would. He tried to excuse the bad CGI in the Flash. So I feel like that's what he'll try to do with this. He'll be like, well, it's an entity that's cosmic and not of this world and interdimensional, so all these things can look like all this crazy. But it's like, no, you got to make it practical and real to be scary. You can't just use that as an excuse to have poor visual effects.
Exactly. Like Flash was literally rescuing a baby, and the baby looked like a Barbie doll.
Yeah, I remember really enjoying that movie when I saw it in theaters, but I have had no desire to ever watch that movie since.
Nah, I'm good. It was like Andy got set up for failure. I'm definitely blaming Warner Brothers execs for that.
Oh yeah.
It's like, and the fact that he's working with his wife on all of these projects, and they're literally the dream team.
Is it his wife or his sister?
Wife.
His wife. Because some people were calling it his sister, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I was like, that was interesting. Like the team, it's a very interesting team that's executive producing. Like Jason Fuchs, I want to say Fuchs. I can't pronounce his last name. He's one of the writers for a lot of the better episodes for sure. And Barbara Muschietti, Bill Skarsgård is an executive producer. I think Stephen King is an executive producer, and like a couple other like interesting names.
Yeah, I know Stephen King gave his approval of the series. I saw where he came out and said it was a great series. which is always good.
Mm-hmm. If you have a Threads account, for all the people with Instagram already, get a Threads account and follow Stephen King. The way he sings high praises for this is it's the reassurance that we need.
Yeah, this is a phenomenal series. It's my, like I said, but my favorite narrative series for sure of the year. One of my favorite narrative series, maybe probably ever, just because I am such a Pennywise stan,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the It story. Like I literally like they already released like the 4K steelbook of this series of season one. It's like a limited
Oh,
edition. I've already pre-ordered it, and it's already like sold out in a lot of places. I already pre-ordered that, and then like I just recently I was at a GameStop the other day, and I got Pennywise, the It Welcome to Derry. It's him with the balloon, and then he's got the Pennywise, the dancing clown wagon, and it's a Funko Pop like set. I bought that set at GameStop the other
oh.
day. Like I'm already just like buying stuff from the show already. Like I'm so into this. Like this show was just right up my alley.
I think what I'm gonna do to show my fanhood, I'm gonna get like a whole, maybe like a sleeve on my leg of dedicated to Stephen King monsters and just goodness.
Oh, that would be dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna have like Pennywise at the top, maybe a Cujo tattoo underneath him, like a Dick Halloran tattoo underneath that. Man, I that is my guy. Stephen King is my guy, and 2025 has been his year. So you got The Long Walk, you got Welcome to Derry, uh, probably even more stuff than that. But
The Life of Chuck.
Life of Chuck, like Jesus, 2025 was. I'm not going to forget this year as far as movies and TV shows go.
Yeah, and I mean that would. I'm trying to think if I have anything else on Welcome to Derry. I think we touched everything.
Yeah, it's. I'm probably going to rewatch season one again.
Oh yeah,
And
I definitely will. It's so dense. There's so
Mhm.
much to cover. I know we definitely missed quite a bit, but it's so dense that you'd be there for a day trying to cover. That's how dense the story is, which just shows how good the writing is. There's so much.
Yeah, this is Easter eggs, special cameos, and then all these references to all the other Stephen King material. It's like this is without a doubt a love letter to his fans. So
Yeah, and I'm just so excited for like the universe possibility. I'm usually not a universe guy lately. Kind of been burnt out on like the MCU and all that. But like, if we're getting like the Stephen King universe, that's just something we haven't seen before, or something different. We've never really had like a universe that has horror, drama, thriller, and it's all tied to this one author's books, and it's like this whole cool universe. Like we've never really had something like this where we can get like a Shining prequel and like it's connected to the movies, but it's also connected to the book, but it's also connected to the miniseries that came out in the night. Like there's so many different things that they can do. It's unreal.
yeah, this. Whew, man, I honestly, I would have a Stephen King movie marathon with just his entire collection of stuff, just so I can be prepared for like the TV shows that's coming up next in support of this.
Yeah, there's I think I was like 3 years back or something like that. I tried to watch like all the Stephen King stuff I hadn't seen, and I still didn't get through it all. But I saw like there's so much.
Yeah,
But yeah, this series, It Welcome to Derry, it's R.I.P. Rich.
rest in peace,
He is the king, my favorite character of the year.
Riz Daddy, Rizzy
10 out,
Santos.
10 out of 10 for me, A plus. I'll give it. I don't care, 5 out of 5. I know we talked about the CGI issues, so technically, I guess it isn't a 10 out of 10. But for me, it's still a 10 out of 10. I'm excusing the CGI with the caveat that if you're ever watching this, or anybody that's part of the show, if you ever watch this, just try better visual effects there. I know you.
Please. I think he's keeping the same team too.
Yeah, and usually like practical in a lot of ways, sometimes it's cheaper. So I feel like maybe you could maybe save some money if you try to do it practical. So, I mean, look at the 1990 miniseries. They did it practical, and it was pretty low budget, and it was terrifying. So
Yeah.
that's my only note on that. On that, no notes for me. Amazing series, phenomenal series.
Oh yeah. I will give it, man, 9.5 out of 10. 9.5. Uh, I had to dock them for the visual effects because it's like you got away with. Well, actually, you didn't get away with what you did with the Flash, but you did get away with it chapter 1 and chapter 2 because Andy did both of those, and but they weren't awful. They weren't awful reboots, so I'll let you slide.
But
And
here's the
welcome
thing
to
that makes
Derry.
this show better, or that this show makes those movies better, is because in chapter 2, the way he dies is so terrible with
Uh-huh.
the baby Pennywise. But because he says in this movie, or was it my birth? You can kind of link that like the way he dies, he basically turns into a baby, and then he said, "Was that my birth?" So then you can say, well, maybe that was him. Like maybe he didn't die there. Maybe that's his birth. Like there's so much, like the it entity is so just like loose with its rules in the universe because of what it is. That this show kind of helped improve that stuff too.
Yeah, and there's rumors floating around that there's going to be a chapter 3. So
I don't know how they would do that.
yeah, I was like, I honestly don't need any more it shit besides the Derry season. So
Yeah, just do the
don't.
Derry series and I'm good.
Yeah, like welcome to once you're done with season 3, call it, please.
Yeah, as much as I love Pennywise, I think you can only get so much. You can't drain it so much where it gets diminishing returns after a while.
Yeah, I am good, man. Every good story needs to close and not keep going.
Yeah, but that's all I got for Welcome to Derry.
Yeah, that is it for me too.
Welcome to
Yeah.
Derry. Go watch the 1990 miniseries if you haven't. Tim
We're
Curry.
all going to float.
Aren't it says aren't you gonna say hello? But you can't really see it all. But yeah, go watch. Go watch my boy Tim Curry if you haven't. If you love it, Welcome to Derry, and you haven't seen the 90 miniseries, it may not hold up for you because of its 1990ness, but
Mhm.
think of it as the time it came out and the low budget they had. And I do recommend watching the documentary too because it shows how much work they put into it. And they really didn't have much time and they were really rushed, and it was still phenomenal for me. I mean, it'll always be in my top 10 horror films. I love the 1990 miniseries. Everybody that knows me knows I stand the Tim Curry Pennywise all the time.
There's no better option.
No better option whatsoever.
We love you, Bill, but you will always be second place to this man.
But yeah, and I as far as like the next episode of JFP, I guess, is end of year. Of course, it'll be the end of 2026. This is the last episode of 2025, obviously. And yeah, 2026 is coming. Got some cool things in the works. This next episode, I think, is going to be awesome. Definitely stay tuned for it. It'll be sometime probably in January. I'll say I want to kind of wait till later January just because so many movies have come out this year that I still need to catch up on. That I want to catch up on my list.
Absolutely.
What I have seen right now, I on my letterbox, I have like the number of movies I've seen this year listed, and already I've seen the most movies I've ever seen this year. I'm at 103 right now.
Woo! The
So
money.
So that's usually the last 2023 and 2024, I was in the 90s, and I'm at 103 right now, and the year's not even over, so I might get a few in before January, before Thursday. But yeah, our next episode will be end of the year celebration for 2025. It's been a great year for movies. I can't wait to talk about some of the movies. like Adam asked earlier about the Marty Supreme, that will definitely be talked about. That's in my top for sure. I got quite a few movies. That'll be the next one, next episode. I'm guessing look somewhere 3.5 weeks. I'm guessing will be our next episode. We'll have to figure it out because Mac's going to come back. I think he wants to come back for the end of year celebration, and then hopefully we can maybe get Bella on, Nick, even. We could get all, maybe we'll get 5 in and out, you never know. But for sure, Mac is coming on, so it'll be me, Deontay, and Mac, and then maybe Bella, maybe Nick. I don't know yet. I have also some people that follow me on Instagram. I've reached out to a few other movie pages, and they said they'd be down to get on the podcast. So I try to get a few for Welcome to Derry, but none of them had really watched them. I messaged like 8 people that have followed me on my Instagram. So maybe they'll come on for some episodes. So look for some new guests this upcoming year for 2026.
Hey.
Me and Deontay will still be the ones holding it down for sure, but we're going to have some new. Bella will still be a regular for sure. Mac, Nick. Hopefully Nick will be making a comeback. He's been he's had a lot of creativity fire lately. So I'm hoping that's going to spread over into our podcast so we can get the Nick back,
Oh, yeah.
Hot Take Master.
The Mr. Hot Take himself.
But yeah, that's the next episode. Look for in a couple weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Well, it'll be the end of the year celebration. Come celebrate the end of 2025 with us, where we talk about all of our favorite movies. We'll probably have vastly different lists. We usually do. 2026, I'm looking forward to adding new guests to the podcast. I'm looking to do new things. I kind of got I got a new mic set up for out of theater reactions that I'm going to work on.
Hey.
I'm going to buy I'm going to upgrade my podcast gear. I'm looking at buying a new mic for like this stuff and like getting like a new headset and camera possibly. I don't know. But I'm looking to upgrade things. So what you see now is only going to be getting better. Hopefully in 2026 is what I'm hoping for JFP.
That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you all for being here. This will be our 3rd episode, 3rd end of year. That's crazy. That's been that long. Time flies when you're living, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to this YouTube channel so we can get more Jacob's Film Perspective. We'll be doing some huge rebranding. The Facebook group is going to go through a name change. This network is going through a name change. More projects is coming in the way. And you never know. I might even come back to content creation full time someday down the road myself. So until then, you can expect to see me on JFP more. I'll probably pop out for a couple Marvel movies and some horror movies. There's some DC content coming out and a new Christopher Nolan movie.
Oh yeah. You know this podcast. The Odyssey's already getting an episode. That's signed, sealed, delivered. The Odyssey will be getting one. Dune Part 3 will be getting one for sure.
Oh, Dune.
2026 is looking to be an amazing year for movies. There's so much coming out. I can't wait for this year. I thank you guys for being with us for another year. This has kind of been the oddest year for JFP for sure, just because I had to take a lot of breaks, just personal things going on. I thank y'all for sticking with me throughout all the roughness. 2025 has been a crazy year. We kind of finished strong though. I feel like, kind of had multiple podcasts in September. So that's really good that we're coming back. And like I said, my out of theater reactions, follow me, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Substack as well. I'm on Substack. I'm trying to build that. YouTube, I have my YouTube as well, Jacob's Film Perspectives, but also I would say, and then follow the SNN network as always, because that's what I am the son of the SNN network. I'm always connected to them, which which like Deontay said, there's going to be some changes with that, which I'm super excited for. I think we're going to be even cooler than we already are somehow. I don't know how that's going to be possible, but I know Deontay has some cool stuff working. Like I said, none of this would be possible without Deontay and the SNN network. I am just the creation of that. I am that. I am the love child. Okay. I'm the baby. I'm the baby. But I'm also daddy, and daddy's here for you.
He is.
And daddy will not leave in 2026. Daddy's here, and daddy will kiss the boo-boo. I promise you that.
Get you a man who can play daddy and baby boy at the same time.
Yes, and if you're seeing this, Jenna Ortega, hit me up. I don't know why I just called her out like that, but I'm doing it.
I was expecting A24, but Jenna Ortega works too.
A24, you're next. Hey, A24, I love you, you beautiful men and women and people that work at A24. I have a hoodie and sweatpants now, A24, I got for Christmas. So now I'm going to be wearing you on my hoodie and sweatpants. I already wore you on my socks. I already have an A24 hat and A24 shirt.
Oh, sucky now.
I have an A24 sock hat as well. I have a lot of A24 gear. So I feel like, I don't know, A24, you should really hire me. And also, send me a Marty Supreme jacket, dang it. I saw you give a Tom Brady one, Kim Kardashian. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to diss Kim Kardashian, but I'm about to diss Kim Kardashian. I'm more talented than her.
Jacob's higher priority than her.
Yeah, give me Marty Supreme. Tom Brady, he's lame. He cheated. Get out of here. Peyton Manning's better. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Give me the Marty Supreme jacket. I think I deserve a Marty Supreme jacket. I would be a great content. I've been noticing a lot of content creators and like famous people are getting the Marty Supreme jacket. I should be next. I mean, come on. I could be a Timothy Chalamet stand-in. I'm a skinny white boy. Come on. Give me the Marty Supreme jacket, A24. That is my plea. I'm not even pleading for a job this time. I'm just pleading for a jacket.
Yeah.
Marty Supreme jacket. I want it. I need it.
Give him the job and a jacket. You will make his nipples explode.
Yes, they will explode. I don't know how that would be possible. They will explode, and I will make you the richest company ever. So, yeah. Hire me.
Hell yeah.
And that's all I got.
Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in to episode 24 of Jacob's Film Perspectives. We are out. Going into 2026, I will be way more on point with the reels. This year was kind of rough because of the balance of personal life, work, and all that got in the way. But as we speak, I am already loading up my hard drive with this, and we're going to get some Pennywise reels this week. So be prepared.
Pennywise reels, my favorite.
Yes. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Be on the lookout.
SNN Podcasts, right, on TikTok. Is that what it's called on TikTok?
Let me see.
Or Saturday Night Nerds Podcast. I'm trying to keep up with the name.
Because we do have a link, and I have not done anything remotely helpful with it on StreamYard to where people can just see it and you can go to the link. But if you're watching this from Facebook, you can go straight to the bio and see the link. You can find us on YouTube. You can find all our social media
everywhere. And when you find them, you find me. I'm the baby that follows.
He's the baby.
The baby. Well, yeah, peace out, everyone. Have a good night. Can't wait for 2026. Be on the lookout. Great content coming from the network. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Happy New Year's, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Year.